Good morning. I think it's day 11, but honestly, it's anybody's guess at this point. So, hopping right into things, today I wanted to talk about structure and routine. I know it sounds as exciting as like a bag full of farts, right? But if you think about it, so in addiction, we become what? So disorganized, so messy, so chaotic, unstructured. So typically, what makes things we want to change better is the opposite, right? The yin yang that I talked about the other day, the balance. So if our lives are unstructured, if they're messy, if they're disorganized, and we're not happy in our lives, all right, that's a piece of it that we can change. And it's quite easy to implement that change, right? You just do the exact opposite, structure and organization. And this can look a lot of different ways. Like in residential treatment, one of the things that they insist upon is making your bed every morning. 5 minute, very simple thing, but it starts promoting this routine and structure. It starts making these new habits. It starts making these new routines, this new compulsion. It helps this part of our brain that we were talking about before, right? Like the planning, the organization, that kind of thing. Not this part, the limbic system, the survival mode, right? So we're trying to start new things. And this can look a number of different ways. It's not just chores like making your bed, it's going to work on a routine. It's exercising, it's eating meals at regular times or healthy foods or like that physically taking care of ourselves piece that maybe we didn't do so good with when we were actively using, right? So another area that it looks at is social and fun, recreation, doing things like that, right? Like join a weekly softball league or attend your kids' soccer games every week, these kinds of things. So it's social, you're talking to people, you're in a safe environment, and you're not isolating. I think one of the big things is that we don't isolate, we keep putting ourselves out there, right? So, I mean, it may sound dull, it may sound boring, but I'll tell you what, a lot of times in early recovery and in residential, that's what they're focusing on within these first 4 days, especially if it's like right when you've stopped using. We'll print out a 24-hour schedule or calendar and literally go through and write in what we are doing every single hour because it holds us to it. And I mean, that's for the first few days. It doesn't have to be that intense and that detailed the entire time because let's face it, who the fuck is going to do that, right? But in those like troublesome moments when it's the absolute hardest to get through, that's a tool that can be used to help get through those times. There's plenty of apps on phones that can help with this. I mean, writing it out on paper, telling it to a friend, however, that looks in your life. And I think it's also important to note that like this isn't an all or none type of thing. Like if you wake up one morning and you just can't fucking make your bed for whatever reason, fuck it. Don't make your fucking bed, right? Like you don't have to be so hard on yourselves. It's just not this rigid pass fail all or none. It's whatever you have in you in that moment, right? Like the doing the best you can, whatever your best looks like at that time. So doing a chore, doing something, but the important part of it is the regularity of it. I'm not even sure if that's a word. I sometimes make up words, so bear with me, but I think people know what I mean when I say it. So it's the regularity of doing it that causes these new routines, these new habits. We're trying to get rid of something that we used to do. We're trying to make organization. So we put these things in place and we keep doing them and we keep doing them. And as it goes on, eventually we see the change that comes with it. So I know scheduling and planning, it's just not that exciting of a topic, but it does work. It has its place, right? I mean, another reason it comes in handy is for these high risk situations, nights and weekends, Friday, Saturday night. If you have a plan in place, you're not sitting around and finding yourself like bored and lonely, right? Our minds can be some wicked fucking places to go. And then they add in like the fear of missing out that they talk about. And It's just a lot. So if we're staying busy, if we are following our plans and scheduled activities, then it gives us less of a chance to kind of get trapped in our own heads for a little bit, which can be good. I mean, yeah, we need to think about what is in our heads and address it, but Friday night when you're sitting home alone, like a beautiful summer night, that is not the fucking time to do so. Like, that is some Monday late morning process on your therapist couch type of shit, right? So having a plan, having a structure, having a routine, taking care of ourselves. Like, I am not one for exercise. I tried a gym membership once and that can go fucking kick rocks. Pass. But now I find exercise in other ways, right? Like, you got to stay healthy, right? You have to stay active. Inactivity kills us as quick as eating fucking McDonald's every day, right? So hiking, love hiking. And you don't realize you're exercising. You trick yourself. You go on bike rides, right? Maybe kayak, or, I mean, in my neighborhood, or not my neighborhood, but like my community, this whole area here, once COVID hit, it seemed like kayaking was fucking all the rage. Like, we could not keep kayaks in stock. And now every single pond that we have, which is lots, has their own like kayak launch now. I mean, their communities, at least in my area, are trying better to keep people more actively involved. And then this post-COVID era, now that we're finally trying to like get back into like seeing humans again, I feel there's an extra push and that there's these added community events for people to be able to get involved in. It's that same concept of like what we've talked about before, do different shit. It's being different, but it's doing it step by step. It's not doing it all at once. It's slowly implementing these different things into our lives until we have formed ourselves into the person that we want to be, right? Like, I'm not saying fully change everything, join fucking PTA, knitting club, like, I don't know, power walk with your neighborhood wives club by any means, if that's not your style. I'm just saying, try something different. You never know. Like, you may find somebody that you connect with or click with, or a new hobby that you enjoy. The best part of it all is none of it's fucking permanent. Like, you can try something and be like, done, not for me. Or you could try something and have like this absolute love and passion for it. Like, yes, I am going to keep doing this. And then you have something that you're excited about. All right. So, plan, chores, boring shit, but it works. Our brain needs to relearn things as it's healing. So keep it up. Have a good day.